Come.
Good evening, sir.
Good afternoon, Shivin. Have a seat, Shivin. So, we pronounce the name as Shivin?
Shivin, yes, sir.
So, Shivin, you belong to Shamli?
Yes, sir.
From Uttar Pradesh, a very well-known place in Uttar Pradesh. And you have done BSc Honours in Physics.
Yes, sir.
Scouts and Guides, Taekwondo, Volleyball, and Joint Secretary of in the college.
Yes, sir.
And Captain of Volleyball, playing volleyball and cooking.
Yes.
And your optional is Geography.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, should referendum be used as a method to take important strategic decisions? What is your view about it, referendum?
Sir, as referendum is a source for direct democracy, so it also depends on the level of understanding of politics and polity of the people itself. So when polity mature in the society, then we can go for referendums like things. Like there are many developed Western countries like Finland, Norway, they have direct democracy tools. But sir, in my opinion, currently I don't think it as a direct tool currently in India, sir, for going for referendum.
Now, should India destroy the terrorist camps in Pakistan through carpet bombing or otherwise? We keep on hearing about terrorist camps which are there in existence. And should India not take the initiative? What is your view about it?
Sir, the camps in the Pakistan are not on our land. So until they pose direct threat, there is some direct attack on us. So I think in my opinion, we should not go for that because that can instigate warlike situations on the border. Rather than we should go for peace talks. And
okay, what will be the situation in which one will be tempted to destroy the enemy camps in Pakistan, terrorist camps?
Yes, sir. Sir, if the camps belong to some organizations which are terrorist organizations and they have put some terrorist attack on our land, then we can have some surgical strikes like thing on the camps to destroy them, sir.
Okay. What is trickle down theory? What it means?
Sir, trickle down theory, in my opinion, it is when we tackle the upper segment of the strata of the society and then we wait for
tackle or anything proactive thing which you do in respect of that.
Yes, sir. We provide the services or the education or whatever policy we want to implement, we provide to a particular strata and then we wait it to trickle down to the lower level, sir.
Okay. Now, every other, someone asks for a new state, Gorkhaland and then Telangana. And so, do you think the demand for new states is justified or
not? Sir, there are many concerns, while there are many are demanding for separate state. So I think in the constitutional limit, it is their right to ask for a separate state as they will be part of the Union of India itself, sir. So I think if the demands are justified on the administrative, economic and cultural line, we can have separate states, sir.
The foreign policy of almost every nation in this world is now getting influenced by geopolitical considerations. Do you think it's a good trend? Can you give some examples in the recent past?
Yes. In the era of globalization, the sovereignty and the decisions of a particular country is determined by the geopolitics as well. So currently, as we see in the Russia-Ukraine conflict as well, there is no such de-hyphenation between India and other countries like Palestine, Israel. While currently we have de-hyphenation, the foreign policy, but earlier it used to be the case. If we will do something regarding Israel, there may be concern in Palestine, or do something in Palestine, there may be some concern in Israel, sir. So I think it is not a good trend that some external elements are deciding the internal policies, sir.
Okay. Nakpal ji.
Shivin, आप क्या surname नहीं लिखते हैं?
No, sir.
अच्छा, your father also doesn't write. This is a new trend, or are there any specific reason for not doing it?
Sir, I asked it to my father. He said it was an unconscious choice. We went to school in the village. The school staff wrote it like that only, without the surname. And all the documents in the family like Aadhaar card and all, they also does not mention the surname, sir.
That's a good practice.
Yes, sir.
What ID you would be carrying to the UPSC?
Aadhaar card, sir.
Aadhaar card.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a driving license also?
Yes, sir.
Which one?
And two-wheeler light one, sir.
Light one.
Yes, sir.
And light one includes what all?
What, sir?
Light.
Which
license
vehicles
for
are
light vehicles
included?
कौन-कौन से शामिल हैं उसमें?
अच्छा, sir. The bikes, scooties, and in case of four-wheeler light, it is cars as well.
Cars as well.
Yes, sir. In case of four-wheeler, I
Where
have
you acquired this license from where?
from RTO office, sir.
RTO office. Which RTO office?
Shamli itself, sir.
Shamli.
Yes, sir.
Did you appear for some tests also there?
Yes, sir.
What were these tests?
Sir, when I went there for DL, the online test has started since then. So there is 30-minute test in the computer first, where some basic question regarding traffic rules, traffic lights are asked, and then there is one test where we have to show to the RTO or other staff that can we drive the vehicle good and there are no security concerns on the road. Then we get it done, sir.
So you drove it on the ground?
Yes, sir.
You did.
Yes, sir. I could not drive the car. That's why I have two-wheeler only. Otherwise, I could have four-wheeler.
For all drivers, whether light vehicle or heavy vehicles or two-wheelers, there are signpostings on the signposts on the roads, all roads, more particularly highways and major roads. You are aware of the signposts?
Yes, sir. I know some of the signposts.
Like what?
Sir, like truck sideway, truck parking signboards, no crossing signboards, no U-turn signboards, or heavy lane and light lane kind of signboard. I know some of them, sir.
और सबसे पहले speed limit.
Speed limit, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. On the highway, we have.
And
this, sir.
schools and hospitals and
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
drive slow.
Yes, sir.
So just tell me, there are 2, 3, 4 designs in which these signs are indicated, where the instructions or the norms are indicated. Now some signboards are round shaped, some are rectangular, and others are probably hexagon. You are aware of this?
Yes, sir. I have seen in all the shapes, sir.
You've seen it,
Yes, sir.
isn't it? Why they are differently designed and differently colored also?
Sorry, sir. I'm not aware of the fact of their design, sir.
Sure. Aware ho jao, because you have a license, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Most drivers won't know it, unfortunately. Since you are a budding civil servant, you should know it first of all. Delhi University, which is the last winning volleyball team, you are a volleyball keen player.
Yes, sir.
Kirodimal, you played there.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Which the last team is which one?
Sir, I'm not aware about the new one. When I passed out in 2016, Ramjas College was the winner, and our team was the only participating team. We could not qualify for any medal, sir.
Okay. There is a saying, you are a student of physics, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
They say physics starts where the philosophy ends. What does that mean?
Sir, may I take some moment to think? May I take some moment to think, sir?
Oh, yes, sure.
Sir, while I am not exactly aware of it, but I would like to guess regarding the literary meaning of it. Sir, philosophy is the science of our wisdom and science of our knowledge. In the same manner, when it ends the our psychological psychological traits or psychological imagination ends somewhere, then it starts the physics, means the physical world with the real world which exists around us, including the lights and all the rooms and our sound, then the physical world starts. So I think it is the case, sir. Well, I'm not very sure about it, sir.
Yes, you are not sure. My last question to you is, why police reforms are so difficult to implement? We always keep talking of it. There are court rulings, there are so many recommendations and things like.
Sir, I think there is requirement of political will within the organization and outside the organization to robustly implement the police reforms. As there are many structures in the police itself, like at the upper IPS level and the lower constabulary level. So the reform should be at both the hand. Currently, we are more focusing on the IPS.
On
cadre
both
side.
the ends, you said.
Yes, sir.
Can you quickly tell me three major reforms that you think should be implemented on priority?
Sir, one is we can have some law and order based or some VIP maintenance based different wings in the police itself, so that investigation can be fast enough. Like we have police armed constabulary in Uttar Pradesh, a separate wing. Apart from that, sir, on the constable level, we can have sensitization, gender sensitization, so that every FIR can be written there, and there should be no, there should be, if someone comes, then they should not try to compound it, rather writing it and try to solve the case. And third, sir, in my opinion, on the technological side,
You don't seem to be very much aware of what what the Supreme Court had in a famous case had brought out, and the major recommendations. Probably you are not too sure on that. So I'll leave you there. Thank you.
Okay. Shivin, some questions from geography.
yes, sir.
What is La Nina, and does it help monsoon or obstructs the monsoon?
Sir, La Nina is part of ENSO, El Nino Southern Oscillations.
Okay.
It helps in building the monsoons. It intensifies the monsoon, as at the masculine high, it intensifies the pressure, and due to which the monsoon in India is intensified, sir. And that particularly we have higher rainfall, sir.
Okay. And what is long period average in calculation of the rainfall?
Yes, sir. I am as per IMD, sir. Long term average is 88 centimeter in India, sir.
Okay. And what is the duration of that LPA in terms of years?
Sorry, sir, I'm unable to recall
50
right
years.
now. 50 years.
And it is required to be revised after how many years?
Sorry, sir, I
10
will read
years.
upon it. Yes, sir.
So what is the latest revision figure for 2020? The bracket of 2020?
Sir, I've read 88 centimeter.
Absolutely correct. Excellent. So geography determines the history of a nation.
Yes, sir.
So it is believed. And geostrategic location of a country can be a bane or a boon. Think of three countries: India, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. Which of these countries has been most successful in leveraging its geostrategic situation?
Sir, India among the three countries have been able to use its geostrategic position well, sir.
What about Pakistan?
Yes, sir. Pakistan, despite having proximity with Afghanistan borderland as well as with the Arabian Sea, but when it comes to the trade with Central Asia as well as trade through the sea route, it is very less in case of Pakistan. But despite having limited connectivity on the Central Asia, India has managed to have good trade relations with the neighboring countries as well as.
Is it because of their geostrategic position?
Yes, sir. One reason is, sir, geostrategic position, like Nepal and Bhutan are landlocked and they are dependent for sea route on India, and India has leveraged this geostrategic position to counterbalance
So
China.
has it played some role in India being part of the Quad?
Yes, sir. As the current focus is rising on Indo-Pacific, so due to that reason, it has some relation with the Quad as well to counter the China's influence in the region, sir.
Can you name one or two countries along with the continent whose geography has been its biggest enemy?
Sir, can I take a moment to think, sir?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Sir, in the Asian continent.
No, whichever, wherever.
Okay, sir.
Free. Think of any.
Sir, in the Western Sahara region, the countries are highly devoid of the natural resources as well as agriculture. So the Western Sahara countries are also and
They are sub-Saharan countries. They are sub-Saharan.
Yes, sir. Sub-Saharan countries. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Section.
Shivin,
Yes, sir.
Supposing a central legislation is passed and it is ratified by the state governments or state assemblies also, asking all the citizens of the country to remove their surnames. You don't write your surname. Will this such a move help in national integration?
Sir, in my opinion, any forceful move, either to remove it or to put the surname, would not help that much. As it should be the social consciousness and the individual consciousness that one should remove itself so that national integration can happen in a better way rather than bringing up a legislation, sir.
So you don't support any legislation, huh?
Yes, sir.
It should come voluntarily. That's
Yes.
what you want, huh? Okay. I find that you have not opted for various services.
Yes, sir.
Why it is so?
Sir, I have been selected to the CRPF as assistant commandant, and so I find my nature to be more near to the field jobs. So I opted
Is
for.
it written in this?
Yes, sir. In
DAP?
the DAF one, yes, sir.
That one. Okay.
So you have an inclination for uniform services,
Sir, uniform services as well as some field jobs, sir. Where
field job.
yes, sir.
Why so?
Sir, since the childhood in my region in the Western Uttar Pradesh itself, there is a high inclination for uniform services, and I've been part of extracurricular activities including scouting and guiding and sports. So that made some inclination in me to go for field services, sir.
But you did not join CRPF.
Sir, I've taken extension due
You
to
have taken
family grounds.
extension.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that
Okay.
means you have joined, but you have taken extension.
Yes, sir.
So you have written no. So
Sir,
that
When the DAP one was there was no joining instruction were there. After DAP one got
Alright.
filled, we got the joining letter, sir.
all right.
Right. You were also joint secretary of the union,
Yes, sir.
Care
Yes.
College Union. Eh?
Yes, sir.
See, when we talk of unions in the colleges and universities, we always have a feeling that they're all hooligans. They're all politically motivated, politicized with different parties, different ideologies. So, don't you think that we should scrap, or the government should scrap students' union all over?
Yes, sir. While there are some issues in the union and its functioning, but in my opinion, removing and scrapping would not be the way forward, sir. Rather, reforming it and having a better recommendation of Lingdo committees and banning the political affiliation. Like in the college, there should be no political affiliation. While we can have student union to redress the grievance of the students and have act as a liaison between the college administration and the students, sir.
Okay, one last question. The central government has decided to induct professionals from open market, from private sector, without the channel of UPSC,
Lateral
civil
entry,
services, lateral entry.
Yes, sir.
So, don't you think that it involves some conflict of interest, because all those people who come from outside the government sector, or they're all from big companies, so they'll be, if they are appointed in key ministries in the government of India, there'll be some kind of conflict of interest. Don't you think so? It's not a wise step to do so.
Yes, sir. While lateral entry may bring some professionalism, but the cause of conflict of interest would be there. Even for them, there should be some body who takes their interviews or something, some process should be there so that this conflict can be resolved.
No, the UPSC is interviewing them.
Yes, sir. UPSC.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Shivin,
Yes.
student of physics.
Yes.
What is God's particle?
God's particles is Higgs boson, which was found in CERN facility. So it is part of boson family, which don't follow the Polish exclusion, and as per the current theory, it is the particle through which everything got mass. Whatever interacted with the Higgs boson got the mass.
So, what has it resulted in? What are the conclusions of that experiment?
Ma'am, the conclusion of the experiment is the mass in the universe after 13.6 billion years ago, there was explosion from the singularity, and then it took some billion years to get the mass, and after that mass is constant in the universe, and every body having some mass is having Higgs particle in it.
Yeah, and that we have also got some insight into how the universe came into existence. Yeah. Okay. You have opted for the police service as number 2.
Yes, ma'am.
How long is the police training before they get posted?
Ma'am, as per my knowledge, it is 2 years, ma'am.
2.5.
2.5 years.
Okay. Do you think that politicians should also go through some kind of an exam and interview before they can become politicians? Some minimum education criteria should be there?
Ma'am, minimum education rather than having minimum education criteria and exams, it would be better that some professional trainings for some period, 15 days, 10 days, should be there rather than exam and educational qualification. It can be part of
that is already there. Once they win their elections, there is an initiation procedure for them, so that they learn the parliamentary proceedings, and how to conduct themselves. That is always there.
Okay.
Now, you've been part of the Scouts and Guides.
Yes,
You got a prize also for that. What exactly is the purpose of setting up Scouts and Guides?
The first and foremost purpose of setting Scout and Guide is to prepare the children and youth. When they come out as a scout, they are ready to serve the society in any form, wherever they are.
As youth leaders, to groom them as youth leaders?
Yes, youth leader and as a service provider to handhold the administration in fulfilling their goal of social service.
Do you think a civil servant can be taken to court for his professional duties?
Ma'am, while there are some anonymities, but they can be taken to the court if
under what circumstances?
Ma'am, may I take some moment to think?
Yeah, please.
Ma'am, like there is some situation on the ground where some violence or rioting, something like is happening, and the ground officers have not done their duty or have taken some wrong decisions which have resulted into negative consequences. Then if someone feel that through the government's permission, one can be taken to the court, ma'am.
Only because it is a perception that you've not been able to fulfill your duty. Yes? That is what you're trying to say?
Ma'am, if there is a break of chain of command. There is chain of command for any situation, and one has to follow that. If that is being broken or any law is being broken, then one can be taken to the court. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Now, if there is a 3% rise in temperatures, would there be any safe place on earth for us?
Overall, average 3 degrees centigrade.
Yeah, uniformly 3 degrees.
As per IPCC report, even 2 degrees centigrade would be too harsh to live. So, in my opinion, 3 degrees centigrade average rise we would not find any safer place to live. Because if the situation has gone to 3 degrees centigrade, it may rise up more. Then things will be difficult.
My last question. How is a bill converted into an act?
Ma'am, any bill passed by the legislature went to the president or the governor, depending on where it is being passed. After president give its assent, then it becomes an act.
No, the process of bill to the act. What is the process?
The bill is introduced in any of the house by a member, private member.
Which bill is introduced in the lower house only?
Money bill is introduced in the lower house only.
Yeah. Then you have introduced the bill. Then
if money, like in case of money bill is being introduced, it will be discussed, deliberated, and voted upon. When it is passed by the simple majority in the house, then it will be sent to the other house for consideration, the upper house. Upper house has no right to change it or modify it, while if they want to change it, they can send it back to the lower house for any change. If lower house does not accept it, their recommendation or their changes will collapse. After that, the bill will go to the president, and then if president gives assent, it will become an act.
So upper house has no purpose.
In case of money bill,
only money bill. No, I'm not talking of money bill.
Okay.
I'm talking of generally bills.
in general, the bill must be passed by the other house as well. Like in case of constitutional amendment bill, it should be passed separately by both the houses.
Both the houses.
And in case of ordinary bill, there can be some joint sittings.
And if the president sends it back?
Ma'am, president exercise some veto powers. If president send it back and legislature pass it again, with or without modification given by the president, president will have to assent it, ma'am.
He'll have to give his accent. Take it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Shivin, we will take you back for a few moments outside and we'll bring you back again for feedback. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, just wait for a few minutes. Have a seat. So, Shivin, when is your interview fixed?
10th of May, sir.
You have a lot of time.
Okay.
A lot of time. Okay, Shivin, how do you think your interview went? What is your opinion? You are left-handed.
Yes.
Okay. How did your interview go?
It was average, sir. Some of the question I was not able to tackle in a better way, sir.
Any areas which you think that you need to probably have a greater knowledge or a depth of knowledge?
Yes, sir. As sir asked some question regarding traffic rules and physics and philosophy. I was not able to recall something, sir.
Okay. So, Shivin, at the outset, let me say you are very good and you have great capability of ultimately making it with high score in the interview. Of course, many things will depend upon your score in the written paper also. This is the first time you are appearing at the interview?
Second time.
Second time. What were you reached the interview stage last time?
Yes, sir.
So, what were the marks which you got?
I got, sir, 138 only, sir.
Achha, 138. Oh, okay. Okay. Let me cheer you up and brighten you that performance is very good and you can definitely score marks, in the vicinity of 170, 180, definitely. Now, coming to specific things, let me say that your clarity of thought, that was there. Your mental alertness was also there. Your communication skills are fine. And you could also face the provocative questions. You were not bluffing at any point of time. These were all favorable to you. So, otherwise your demeanor, your outer appearance, your dress sense, your verbal and non-verbal channels, your body language, eye movement, everything is absolutely fine. Will you be sporting a beard there?
No, sir.
You will not be sporting. Okay. And you will be wearing a suit just like you are wearing already. Now, the things which we have to just now tell you. Number one, of course, is that physics you have to be fully prepared. Because BSc Honours Physics, so you got particular and a question was asked. Many questions may be asked, the sky is the limit. Like you can say that's why sky is blue, why the lights are red and green and so on. Okay. There can be question on many aspects like photoelectric effect, electromagnetic waves, mobile technology. What is the role of electromagnetic waves there? Why 5G technology is being opposed? Okay. And so many. Why can't you boil a dal when you go to the higher altitudes? So anything. What is the atmosphere of Earth? So you doesn't prepare. One thing which I would suggest to you, there is a beautiful book on scientific facts brought out by Hindu. If you can get hold of that, you have sufficient time. It talks about every event on science, physics, chemistry, mathematics, biology, astronomy. The most important scientific explanation, Hindu book on scientific facts. There are 2 volumes to that. That will help you out in preparing some of the very, very important aspects of physics. Now, coming to scouts and guides, taekwondo, volleyball, these things you will have to, you already must be knowing quite a bit about it. India's position regarding this in the international arena, what are the rules,
Yes.
And so that you need to prepare. Then cooking was one. So cooking again, which kind of cooking are you interested in? That you should know the dishes, name of the chefs all over the world, which are the most famous chefs, anyone visiting India and so on.
Sir, for cooking, I have one question. I know the items and masala roll in Hindi, sir, because we used to call them in that way. So we should remember in English or we can.
No, you can.
इंग्लिश के देख लो, लेकिन दिक्कत नहीं है, हिंदी में भी बोल सकते हैं.
मतलब rather than not giving an answer, it is better to speak in any language in which you are. So you can mix English, Hindi.
And sir, जो famous TV programs हैं जो
Yes, sir, master.
cooking
Master
पे,
chef वाले.
उनके बारे में खास तौर से
And the most important international chef visited Jharkhand recently. So you can note down the name. A very controversial chef, but he visited. Then issues like budget highlights, economy of this country after COVID-19. These are the issues which may come. So go to the official websites. Don't depend on fly-by-night operators. These kind of books. Go to the Reserve Bank of India, Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog has huge amount of information regarding the policies. And then trickle-down theory that I had asked you. So there are many aspects, many terminologies in economy. You should know that. Whether it will be V-shaped economy, whether what exactly you can expect, so such kind of things. And then, of course, why the cyclones happen in the eastern part of the country rather than the west part. So, issue 7 sister states, and what is the effect of the climate change? Which parts of India are going to be submerged? You see, because of rising of the sea level and so on. So then, of course, the sounds, how winds are formed, aurora, North Pole, South Pole, and so on. Everything, right? I asked you many questions regarding referendum, which you came out with that answer, and then terrorist camps also, and then so Indo relations with other countries in our neighbors, that you should study in great detail. Some problems which are happening in Sri Lanka or in Pakistan and so on. Then how Bangladesh is progressing economically much greater pace as compared to its neighbors. What is behind it? What is the marketing strategy of, say, Patanjali, or for that Amul? Such kind of questions may not normally they come, sir. Then coming to this La Nina and then long period average, there are many questions which were asked. You should be, a large number of them you were able to answer, but some of them, so prepare slightly more on the geographic aspect. Then driving test and some of the things connected with that, symbols and the signboards and the signages, etc. Police reforms again. So you said that the political will is not there, because police is the most effective weapon in the hands of politicians. That is why they don't want to do that, you see. So it was left to the Supreme Court to come down heavily, and the new police act was brought out. DG's appointment is now made in consultation with the UPSC. So some reforms have been done, but a large of them have still not been implemented, and it should become an independent but politician. Your answer was correct in something, but then there are many other reasons why police reforms. Also understand the civil service reforms, the electoral reforms. They are also areas where question may be asked. Second Administrative Reforms Commission report by the chairperson Veerappa Moily and so on. And then Quad, its importance, counter China, and then the geopolitics, geo-economic factors which start playing the position of India, Afghanistan, and so on. So all these things you should know. Then in the world international order, the Russia, Ukraine, and so all these things. China, and why is it a multipolar now, or a bipolar, or a unipolar world which is emerging over a period of time. The globalized problems you should also know. Globalized, COVID was one, climate change is another, drugs is third, AIDS was fourth. So there are, terrorism is the fifth, migration is sixth. So the globalized problems which are there, and that is why one of the Secretary Generals of United Nations was tempted to say that problems without passports require solution without passports. Yes. So now the problems are traveling from one country to another, they don't require passports, and that is why we need to sit down together and apply ourselves to come out with solutions. Then central legislation, surname, that of course, surname definitely you can say it's a positive step. Yes. If surnames are reduced, definitely it will improve matters to some extent, but then the social awareness, and that also is necessary. But don't oppose, don't say that nothing will come out, because it will help, definitely it will help. And then the unions, So, well, there are both. This is a controversial question. You can say both the sides are there. One is, some people say that we should not have the universities and educational institutions are places of study. Why should students, form unions? And the other side is that it is a stepping stone ultimately for the future. So therefore, many politicians, good political leaders have come from the, students' unions or from panchayats or panchayat samitis. So these are democratic institutions which should be encouraged in a democracy like India. Got particle and police training. Some questions were asked on that also. And politician, whether there should be a minimum. Again, a controversial question. You should say yes, there are both sides. We have 70% of the population living in rural areas, and the level of education is still not high. It can be done in stages. It can be started from panchayat, or it can then panchayat samiti, then it goes to legislative assembly. But in the overall, because ultimately they are involved in the policy making. So politician must have a minimum amount of education and training. So that will do a lot of good in coming out with good policy decision, evidence-based policy. So you see, there is always a positive thing, but this thing will require time, slowly. Scouts and guides and civil servant can be taken to the court. So there is a word in the official discharge of one's duties. So you read that. So in the criminal procedure code is also, there is a protection in 197 is protection is there. And so many such situations are there. If he does not do something in official discharge of duties, then no permission is required. He can be straight up removed also. Bill into act, that of course. Then besides that, just one or two things which I will mention. Number one, the district administration, you must know the district administration, how it works. What is the role of collector? Why do you want to come to civil service? You must have very strong reasons for that. Don't give reasons like I prestige and authority, or I want to do society. Society, everyone is important. Architect is also important. Doctor is also important. You say answer concentrating on the functions and the duties which you are going to get. So responsible position at a very young age, positions of leadership, leadership and responsibility at a very young age. These will be a part of the public policy making process. So you will see the problems of the people. You will find the solutions, then formulate the policy, making it into a law, implementing. This civil servant is involved in the entire process, which makes it very interesting. And then you will have a very diverse view of the entire thing. So a lot of variety, diversity in the subjects which you will be attending to. Then a lot of creativity and innovation. You will be able to take some steps and see the results. And lastly, you will be able to do a lot of good to the people, the citizens of this country. So that's about it. And read all the public policies, the laws for specific sections of the society, the women, the children, the senior citizens, scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, handicapped, every kind of sector. You must know the laws. For women, there will be at least a dozen laws. You must know who is the competent authority, who can take decisions. Similarly, the Namami Gange or the Ujjwala Yojana or Ujala Yojana, the public policy in various sectors. There is a good book which we want to read, 70 Policies That Shaped India. It's a beautiful book. It is available as a free download on Google. 70 Policies That Shaped India. So that includes, the nationalization of banks, even GST, demonetization, all these things. It will be a good idea to go through that. Do you have any questions to ask?
Sir, one question. Were my answers lengthy or?
Absolutely fine. You were able to come out with very good answer, with lot of clarity. You were able to analyze them. Your communication skills were fine. You did not bluff. You were honest in your approach. You were very confident. Everything is fine. Just a little bit of studying subjects slightly more. Visit to a Panchayati Raj institution. See how things work there. Visit an office in district level. You see how things work here. Go through the process of election. What is the role of the collector in elections? In disaster management, floods, droughts, typical situations, they may ask you about where you have, what decision you will take. Remember always one thing, you must remain on the right side of law. So if question asked on police encounters, never support that. Similarly, if a question is asked about the duties of the collector, concentrate on the most important aspect, that is the revenue administration. So prioritize your answers, give always examples, And whenever their answer can go either way, bring out the pros and cons, both sides. That will make your answer very good. Okay?
Visit a primary health center also. They are very important post-COVID. Some of the centers have been renovated to a higher level. So what extra facilities have been added? And what you think can more be added? With all this list जो आपको दी गई है ना, इस पे भी आपके पास टाइम है बहुत.
Yes, sir.
Go through all this material and you will be far better.
You'll get a copy of the video which is there, and just visit to have a first-hand experience of how a district works, how a Panchayati Raj institution works, what are the nature of duties, and so on. And you will do very well. So let me say, be confident and read current affairs till the time you enter the interview room. There will be newspapers lying in the waiting room in the UPSC.
Yes, sir.
You can go through them so that you are fully prepared with the latest things. Okay. And all the best to you. You will perform very well this time.
Thank you.
You will get very good marks. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Unacademy. Let's crack it.